Junior Boys are a Canadian electronic pop group. They were formed in 1999 and are still going, and they have released 6 albums so far in that time. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the first album by Junior Boys, and it's my first time listening to it. And I know that what happens with a lot of people with YouTube videos is that people just dip in and watch them particularly. But this video is part of a long series that I'm doing, which is a countdown run through the 3,000 greatest albums of all time, according to a website called Acclaimed Music. Um, why am I mentioning this? Because sometimes there's an interesting juxtaposition of reviews, and that's the case here. Because the previous review, which I did, which was of a Wild Beasts album, um, had me referring to 80s synthpop, and this will have me referring to 80s synthpop, but they're still quite different between them. So if you saw that review and heard it, you might appreciate this. If you haven't, you just um, jumped in here, then I apologise for wasting your time with those comments. So imagine an 80s synth pop group, maybe Pet Shop Boys or Erasure. Erasure might be a better starting point. Now, take away any luttness that might be there. So especially if you were thinking of Pet Shop Boys, they had quite a big, still do, lush sound. So make it kind of simpler in the backing. But now make the drums more complex, so more hip hoppy, even with elements of drill, which is a more modern kind of thing, obviously. Um, so think about in terms of so that's the kind of the drums and the backing a bit, but think about backing for late 80s rap, especially synthy stuff. So there's single lines of chimey synth and percussive kind of percussive synth bass, and most of the music seems to be some rhythm stuff, some synth bass, and some kind of background synthy stuff. It feels to me that the background synthy stuff has been played, and that the bass line has been programmed, and that the drum patterns have been programmed, but somebody's switching the patterns as stuff plays. Um, Overlay on that some quiet sung, sometimes half-spoken words. And if you imagine all those things, you might have got there. You might have got to imagining what this is. Alternatively, you could just have listened to the clips that I put at the start and the end of this review, but I tend to like to do loads of description here. So I felt like it was robotic. It's very synthy. I'm not meaning robotic to be a negative here. It sounds, as I say, sequenced. It sounds like whoever's controlling the drum machine enjoys switching patterns quite often, because it switches quite a lot, and enjoys programming the drums with quite complex drum patterns. Um, and I do like quite a lot of synth pop. I didn't really like this, though, I have to say. And I was trying to work out why. So I think that some of the aspects here, the grooves are often kind of too clinically complex to pull me in. I quite like fairly simple drum grooves, I think. The musical elements are fairly simple, but they don't feel elegant to me or lush. And the singing, this strange phrase came to mind when I was writing my notes, feels somehow non-committal, as if not really fully committed to what he's doing here. Um, Please feel free to disagree with me on any of these things that I've said. There are moments in it that I like. There are bits where it kind of settles into a groove and it feels a bit like an extended mix for one of those 80s synth pop songs. And so those are the bits that I've enjoyed more. But in general, kind of the feeling is I could not say, yeah, I'd say I could take it or leave it. But actually, in general, I think I'd probably rather leave it. I'm not. There are bits that I've kind of pulled the score up. I was uh, After my first listen, I was wondering where if the score would be, in the fives, but it's got into the sixes for some better passages. But I just didn't click with me. It's not my kind of thing. Although, as I said, a lot of synth pop is. So that's what I think of this album. Please feel free to let me know what you think and let me know how wrong I am in my dismissing of this album as not being absolute genius or whatever you want to say, please do leave me comments. I enjoy comments. And that's it from me, Philip.
Your face shut, you on the